Yo, everybody, welcome to this next lesson. In this lesson, I'm going to be explaining the project I want us to develop together. So, well, as you surely recognize these images, you'll know that they're related to what we're going to be doing. They're book covers. In this case, they're not book covers necessarily, but they could be. We have these silhouettes that help us get an idea of what a cover can tell us. We're going to imagine that we're talking about a book. On the left one, we have a silhouette, that silhouette for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We can see in that kind of potion that's letting off smoke, like that vapor, like a kind of silhouette of a man, and behind the smoke, we can see another silhouette of another appearance that looks, much more menacing, This makes you understand that if you know the book, or if you read it at some point, well, you can see that relation, But it's also a cover that's quite visual that allows you to get an idea of what you're going to read. In the Walking Dead one, as I've said before, what they're using is like an external silhouette. That's it's quite appropriate because it simplifies the concept that they're working on a lot. So you'll know what you're going to read thanks to this graphic summary that you're seeing. It also looks really, really nice. I really like it. As I was saying, the external part is like a zombie, all right? And the internal part is a place where the story might take place. And it's a good summary for people who might be on the fence, they might want to buy it, but it costs €30, so I don't know. They might just get a grip of this thanks to what you've done, thanks to what you've drawn, thanks to your cover. Okay? For this reason, you have to keep in mind a series of conditions that you have to follow to make this kind of cover without losing it all. So, my recommendation is that you choose for this project a book that you are familiar with. I'm going to recommend, again, sorry for recommending so many things. I know it's a bit weird, but, go with it. I'm going to recommend that you get a classic book, like a classical book. For example, I'm going to choose a Shakespeare classic. And from there, I'm just going to develop this concept. I'm going to work on my concept. I'm going to continue analyzing, lastly, these two images that are also the ones that have had an impact on me. As you can see, they use the silhouette of these animals to tell a story that's a bit deeper on the inside. Now, it'll place you within the novel you're going to read. In one way, we can see a city. In another, we can see like a scenery. They're both scenes that can be seen in the book we're going to read, or the book that we're going to illustrate. Yeah, okay. That would be it. We also have to have very in mind the kind of typography that we're going to use on the cover. We have to see that the title has to be bigger than the name of the author so that it stands out more. We have to find that harmony between the colors as well. For example, in this case, we see that blues and yellows are more predominant. They contrast really well and they work well together. And this way, well, as you can see, there's a lot of white. It's not necessary to oversaturate the cover with information. If we focus on detailing the internal part, it's going to be enough to explain something maybe more intricately than if we were to fill in the cover and completely fill it. It would be crazy and people wouldn't know where to look. So the cover has to be something concise, something that's summarized well, it's impacting, and it's visually just nice. It's pleasing. And if people with one look get curious from it, and that makes them pick them up, pick the book up, to try and get it or take a look at the blurb. That's a point for us. So, as I was saying, I've taken Shakespeare as a reference. And here I've gotten like a couple of covers, okay? That are, as you can see, they're really developed, realistic, really detailed. And this is what we're going to come away from. We're going to leave that to one side because what we want to do is to summarize. We want to put all of that overload of information to one side, okay? So we can give way to like a clue, like a concentrated clue of what you're going to find in the book without giving away too much. For example, I'm going to work on Romeo and Juliet as my main work, and then I'll show you what I've done with two other, pieces that are really interesting to synthesize. You can see maybe Julio Verne, Edgar Allan Poe, Oscar Wilde, any classical author. It's going to help you a lot. Jane Eyre, I don't know. See you guys in the next lesson.